Máme před sebou prezentaci zkušeností z města Essen. Já zde vítám pana Sebastiana Schlechta, který byl hlavním manažerem projektu hlavního zeleného města Evropy. Tento titul získalo město Essen v roce 2017. Dnes pan Schlecht pracuje na odboru životního prostředí, výstavby a sportu a věnuje se pokračování vize Essenu jako zeleného a udržitelného města. Čili Sebastiane, prosím, váš příspěvek.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for City of Essen to be invited here to Ostrava to this very interesting conference and also to a very inspiring and very good, well-designed location. I enjoyed very much to come to this conference building, which as I'm an architect, I like very much. And I think you have shown very well how to do the change from an old to a new without deconstruction, but with looking forward to the future. So this building is maybe something I will just take as a symbol of the ability to change. I am from Essen. I will talk mainly about the design, the integrated design, and about green and blue, but in the end it is all a matter of the culture of change. And we are, the city of Essen is, you see, let me see how I get the pointer here, is you see where Essen is in Europe. It's in the middle of Europe and the middle of Germany, and we are a region. This is the Metropole Ruhr region. It's a city of cities. It's the slogan the regional organization is now gave us, and we are a region with 5 million inhabitants and with a very strong tradition in coal mining and steel production. And the city of Essen is located on this place in this region. We have nearly 600,000 inhabitants, and we experienced, I think, the same as Ostrava, the 150 years of transformation. And we transformed from a very agricultural region to a very fast-growing industrial hotspot in Europe. And with the crisis of coal and steel production starting in the end of 70s and 80s, we recognize a very high unemployment rates. We still have an unemployment rate about 11% in the average, and the unemployment is most concentrated in the north of our region because this was the latest industrialized area. And we will now face on the challenges and how we try to design and the transformation of our city and our region. Sorry, now something is going too fast. Okay, I'm not really able to use this technique. Okay, so Essen was the European Green Capital in 2017. We did win the award in a line of different cities of Europe. We started to think about applying to this award already 2010 when our region was the culture capital, but we tried 3 times with our application, and we tried to show the European Commission how our strategies to change from an industrial legacy to a green future are sustainable and with a long breath. I have to train. No? Somehow it will struggle. So the Green Capital Award has 12 indicators, and these indicators are also during the application of the Green Capital, maybe like Ostrava also experienced, they are good measurements for collecting basis data, because for the application, the whole region collected the data in these 12 indicators, and so we are now able to have a very good basis of data in climate change, in traffic, in biodiversity. We have like a regional measurement, and also for our city a measurement how we are developing and how the changes we are implementing take effect on these 12 measurements. For each measurement, okay, now again somehow it's fast forward here, so I have to hurry maybe. We have goals in all of these 12 measurements, and these goals are in our application of the Green Capital. We describe these goals, and we are now heading with a small strategic department to follow these goals as a measurement for the city of Essen for the next 10 years. We call it the Green Decade. So we implemented these goals of the application now for a strategic plan of future of the city of Essen. And you see many things here, like the acoustic measures, you see the CO2 emission, which is very important. You see the traffic. Here we try to change our modal split to become the car only 25% of the traffic. Actually, it is over 50%. So we are not the best in all these indicators. We are still struggling and have to do a job in the future. You see the nitric oxygen emissions. You see drinking water refurbishment rate. So these are our goals for the next 25 years. It's not that we are already done with that. Oh, I try again, fast forward. So what I'm coming now, the reason why the jury gave us the award is the significance of green, one of the reasons, significance of green infrastructure and the regional cooperations. And that, what I come to is later, is that our region is a region and not, it is not only a city. And we have a green, very short overview of our green history. On the left side you see city planning is from 1920, so it's 100 years old. And we had a city planner, he was called Robert Schmidt. He is also the founder of the regional cooperation Ruhr. So the two goals Essen has done in these times is we already had a green infrastructure plan, and some parts of it already are visible in the city. Not everything was preserved, but this green rays, he called, are bringing fresh air to the city center. And so he was kind of a visionary during the times where the coal and the steel production and the money to earn was ruling the most of the city development. Our city is between two rivers. We have the Emscher in the north and the Ruhr Valley in the south. So the Ruhr Valley, the Ruhr River was like 100 years ago the dirtiest river of Europe. It was, I recognized that it was 20 years ago in Italy, in the school books, it was, the children learned about the Ruhr River in our region as being very dirty. Later we will see that we cleaned it already now. The Emscher River in the north was completely used as open sewer until the last years. And here you see the symbol of the Green Capital is we have two clean rivers and we have green connections in between. So we designed this logo for Essen for the Green Capital year. The regional cooperation is a tradition in our in our area. So here we have the Emscher River. You see it's flowing about 100 kilometers through our region. Essen is in this area, and you see very well that these small rivers here are going through the cities all over, and they all are flowing into this Emscher River. So 100 years ago, this whole system, so everything you see on this map was converted into a sewer, open sewer system. In course of the decreasing level of the surface, because of the coal mining, we have, the surface decreases up to 25 meters in our region. This whole river system stopped working at all, and it was rebuilt 100 years ago to a technical open sewer system, which affected the whole city areas in these rivers crossing by very bad smell every summer, because the open sewer is an open sewer and nothing else. So we are, it's a biggest project in our history. One of the biggest in the last 100 years is to reconvert this to a closed, so we building a separated closed sewer system to separate rainwater from the dirt water, so we also can handle much better our water cleaning facilities, because the rainwater is not mixed with the wastewater anymore. And here, sorry for that. Somehow. Here you see some pictures. These are the big drainage systems we are constructing in the whole region. So we have 51 kilometers of the main channel and 73 kilometers of the separated sections, and we have these deep tunnels. They are 10 to 40 meters in diameter, and we have 113 of that to reconstruct this infrastructure. So this is we are working on that for 30 years with the help of European and German funding. And now you see that somehow this presentation is faster than me, much more. You see an example how it changes. So the sewer to a natural river, and also you see here a very nice event last year, because this is a fish which called the Emscher Groppe. It is a specific kind of fish known in the Emscher River, and people thought that it already died and it's no one left, but they found some of the Emscher Groppe in an old side channel of the Emscher River. So this fish is now brought back to the river. So here you see just some pictures. Can you help me maybe by stopping that fast forward? These are just examples from converting these infrastructures. So I try to head on. I'm getting a little bit out of concept, sorry. So maybe if you push one forward, can you push the one backward, please? Once more. Stop there, please. Thank you. So we have one strategy we are following since more than 10 years is the program New Ways to the Water. You see here the two rivers and the green connections, and this is a master plan by Andreas Kipper, landscape architect. So we have this connecting ways. We developed among these ways several small projects, and we realized them with a work of long-time unemployed people in green infrastructures. And with more than 500 single projects, we designed these green lines with cycling paths amongst the rivers and converting the sewers over the last like maybe 13 years. So this is also a social project implementing the green infrastructure and giving infrastructure for cyclists. This is an example what I mean with integrated green and blue infrastructure, so we can also handle social and other demands in that. Yeah. So please go back for several of them. So this stop here, thank you. So here you see what is done after the green race or the green waste to the water. We developed a green infrastructure network. And this is an example for the cycling lane with separated walking on an old railway track. So we use the old infrastructure, the best way to bring the new quality of life. Please, forward one. No, backwards. This is, now I show you 3 projects. The red line is the regional cycling highway, we call it. And this is a regional project which is organized by the regional cooperative of all cities, but every city has to participate with their own departments. But the money is coming from the state government. So we built this cycling highway to connect Essen to the west. It's already finished. It is connecting 2 universities, the Essen University and the Duisburg University, which are working in a cooperation. And on this cycling highway, I show you 3 projects. Can you, so this is the city center here. Here is an old, this area is an old railway station, transportation railway station. This is the old area, very huge area of the ThyssenKrupp steel production. And this is a new built infrastructure in an area where we have social programs and to bring new quality of life and housing there. So maybe next, please. Go back again. So this one more. This infrastructure project is the Krupp Park. It is also designed by the Kippa landscape architects, and the demand here is that this is a very contaminated area, and we had to manage the contaminated soil to move to some place and to get other sites for new building projects. We needed to manage that soil. So we have this project developed with, it's called the 7 Hill Park. We designed, the architect designed the hills from the contaminated soil. So the soil is also secured in waterproof, in a waterproof cover. So we need to manage the rainwater. You see this Krupp Lake. It's very close to the housing areas on this side, and it's also a retentioning of rainwater for heavy rainfalls. And all this rainwater is going to the Emscher system, to the new river. So this infrastructure is bringing also lots of sports facilities in the suburbs, and we can improve the quality of life. We have managed our soil there, and the rainwater is prepared for the future. So the next, please. Yeah, this one is the city center, the old railway station. This part of the town is just in the middle of the center, and was for more than 30 years, it was just a brownfield. Nobody had a clue what to do with it. Essen was just in a financially disastrous situation, and there was no investor, no one coming to say, I want to build there something. So this area was developed by the municipality. We decided, or the city of Essen decided to develop this water and green space in the middle, and we decided on our own to bring there mostly housing in the city center and not only offices. So this green infrastructure and blue infrastructure did mobilize the investors to be sure that this is a good place to build houses. So we first built this park without having any investor to build a house there, but after 1 year after it was finished, every slot was sold and they started already to construct, and now it is, after six years later, the last building is finished. And we have like 400 apartments there, so the green infrastructure also is a motivator for investors to come and to see that this is a place with a quality of life. And the green infrastructure is the insurance for quality of life in the city. Oh, sorry, that was me. The next, please. Can you turn one back? One more? No, one back, one more. Sorry, I overtake. This is another project. You see, the bridge is the regional cycle highway passing this lake, where we also do rainwater management and retentioning. And this, just behind this new houses, there is part of the city where we have social development programs since many years. So we brought, these houses are built by a municipality-owned company. So we bring apartments with a low rent to this district, but with a very high quality with the green space. The next, please. So now, very short, we have regional cooperation, which is called the Future Initiative of Water in the City of Tomorrow. And this is just to show you how we work together with different universities and institutions on and also the cities around our place to build the infrastructures for the water systems. The next. That is on the same issue. We can just go to the next slide, please. It's only so I think we go on. The Future Initiative Water in the Cities of Tomorrow is built on different strategies so that we can also have a good basis on data and knowledge and networks to tackle all the problems of the heavy rain and the water problems. Next, please. One back again. One more back. And that is it's very important picture. The last year we opened a bathing spot on the River Ruhr, and this is the first legal bathing since 50 years in the river because it was so dirty. And we managed to have a secure bathing according to the European law. So this is the first river bathing with secure water in a flowing water system. We have a special system to alert the contamination. If you have too much heavy rain, our water cleaning is over flooded, and so we have an online system to say bathing is prohibited for the next days, and we test the water to be clean again, to give the sign to go swimming again. So this is like a pilot we started last year, and we are now in the regional context to bring more and more bathing spots. Next, please. One back, please. Now I come to a thing that is, for us, very actual. It's trees in the city. We have the dry period in this year, but we experienced in our region a very, very strong storm in 2014. The storm was called Ela. Every storm is getting a name, so this was Ela. And ELA destroyed in our city more than 25,000 trees, old big trees. So our city completely looked like a disastrous area. The trees are lying in all roads, on the houses, on the cars, on the highways. And we started to plant new trees after this year 2014. But we now experience that the trees we planted the last years, they are not strong enough to resist the heat we had this year. So we had lots of problems with our trees, but already in 2014 we started a program. Maybe you go to the next slide. We started a program to do research on the trees of the climate adaptation. The trees have an enormous impact on heat, on water management in the city, so they produce shadow, and through evaporation they cool down the city. And you see on the left side an example for how the roads are built in a technical view. So we have maybe underground lines, we have tunnels for other infrastructure, we have the wastewater and electricity and heat pipes and everything. So in this environment, a new tree must grow. This is very difficult for the tree to have an environment that he will grow fast and healthy. You see here the results of the storm Ela, and here you see the results of this summer. So we have trees that are already maybe some years old, but in this area there's an underground line under it. So these trees are getting out of water very fast because the roots cannot go very deep. And we experienced a lot of problems with our young trees, which are up to 4 years old. So we had several programs to bring water to their trees. Maybe to the next slide. We have this Baum Adapt, it's a tree adaptation research program. I just go very shortly on that. We have a cooperation with universities to work on which kind of trees and which conditions do they need to grow in the best way, because we experienced that a good grown tree has a very good function for our problematic temperatures, and it does reduce the cost of maintenance in a very visible way. Next. Here you see a map where the cooling potential of the forest is shown. So you have these green areas where you see small forests in the city center, and you see that they cool down the buildings around. So these areas can cool down the area surrounding them, but not all of them. You see here that these are heat islands because there's not enough green space available to cool down these gray areas. The blue areas are okay in the cooling, and the gray areas are not affected by the green spaces. So there is a very easy visible effect of green and temperatures in the city. Maybe the next, please. One back, please. Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, again, one back. Sorry. So we have this tree management. So we work on what kind of trees, and you need a time, very long time to change the trees in the city because they have to be productive in a special size. And maybe the next, I think it's also the last slide, is an example from Stockholm. We saw a very similar picture from Teresa from Prague. So here you see a young tree in a pit which is connected to a rainwater drainage system. So you can keep in the heavy rainfall, you can collect the water. The water can go in this with crushed rock filled area and can also be stored there. And the tree will have enough water even in dry seasons to grow strong. And no, there's one slide left. Next. So here you see a very simple graphic. If if you do not invest in your infrastructure, this is an example for the trees. A small invest in the not well-built pit for the tree will result in maintaining costs in the next 20 years, which are very high because the trees will be under stress, not very strong, and in the storm they will be damaged and parts of the trees fall down onto the roads, and they have to be maintained very often. And if you invest in the bases of the trees, you will have in the future you only have to invest once in the tree pit, but the maintenance will go down very significant. So this is also a matter of life cycle costs of this infrastructure, and you can implement this also on other parts of the green and blue infrastructure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Sebastian, please come here and take a seat. It was really nice example for implementing green and blue infrastructure. So I don't want to interrupt you because it was really nice.
I'm a little bit of time.
It's okay. So this is your microphone. So now we have only 5 minutes for discussion. I start with a question from Michal Veselý, and the question is, who are the drivers of the green development in Essen besides the city? Oh, I'm sorry, no, it's, maybe you can answer.
So the drivers of the green infrastructures is mainly the city in the last decades. But now we experience that the interest on the green infrastructure are also on the investors. So we have one investor who will bring a new quarter, a new district. He will build like 2,000 apartments in Essen on the brownfield close to the Krupp Park. He's starting already next year. And the planning of this investor is very much better than our sustainable planning, because he is experiencing that he needs to bring the green into his planning now, so that the people will like to stay there. And he's already experiencing that cycling lane, cycling highway on his investment is good to have that, because people like also to cycle. They don't not only want to stay in the traffic jam. So this is very interesting to see that this green infrastructures also bring these sustainable ideas for sustainable investment, because a sustainable investment and also security for the investment for the future.
Okay, thank you. And what is the role of private investors, if there is any?
The city of Essen is still in a financial bad condition. So we are still with a high unemployment rate, and our infrastructures are mainly dependent on funding from state and European money. So the investors are very important for us to be partners in this process. So as I shown on the university quarter, we decided to get first with the green infrastructure as an investment from the city, but the main investment is coming from private companies.
Okay, thank you. So, are there any questions in audience, please? Maybe you will need it.
So, my name is Martin Krejčí and I'm bicycle coordinator of the city of Ostrava. I would like to ask you, you were talking about the need of the change of model split in Essen. What is nowadays model split?
Sorry, you mean
model split of kinds of transportation.
Okay.
You are talking about that more than 50% going by cars to work and back.
That is one key factor we are working on at the moment. We are traditionally car infrastructure region, so the people love their cars still. It was just after the war, the people stopped cycling at all, and we are now hardly trying to implement cycling infrastructure again. But we have, actually we have less than 10% cyclists in Essen, and we want to raise this up to 25% to 2035, which is a very hard way to go. And we experience that people want to cycle, but there is not enough space on the streets to cycle because of too many cars parking and driving. But we see that we cannot tell the people what to do. We have to give them the possibility to experience good mobility and not good car driving. So we build mobile stations to combine public transport, cycling and car sharing on hotspots where people can easily change from cycle to train to car sharing, and we try to extend our cycling infrastructure step by step. And we have also a very strong view on the air pollution because we are in the European law exceeding the nitric oxygen limits, and we are in a program of the German state government that we try to reduce this by extending our public transport capacities and lower the prices.
Thank you. Enough? Okay, Mr. Vítek.
Chtěl jsem se zeptat, jestli v Essenu máte koncepci pro aplikaci modrozelené infrastruktury. Pracovali jsme na jednom projektu tady v České republice, kde jsme dělali koncepční dokument pro koordinaci stavebních profesí, tak aby se do těch ulic ta modrozelená infrastruktura dala aplikovat. A v rámci toho jsme právě po vzoru Stockholmu použili index modrozelené infrastruktury a z toho jsme vyvinuli jakýsi systém, aby vzniklo měřítko pro to, jak chceme, aby nám ta modrozelená infrastruktura vyráběla, vlastně chladila to město. Viděl jsem tam mapu, kterou jste měl, kde máte lokality, kde vám ta modrozelená infrastruktura funguje a jak, tak by mě zajímalo, jestli máte pro celé město stanoveny třeba ty indexy pro modrozelenou infrastrukturu podle stupně výrobnosti a jak to vyhodnocujete.
Děkuju. Sebastian, please, short.
Yeah, very short. Thank you very much for this. This is a very important discussion going on in Essen because we have this, the realization of this infrastructure is across different departments, and also it's a political discussion. We're now implementing this 12 indicators, strategic planning, and we have to bring city planning department with so my department is environment and construction, but not city planning, and we have to work together with the city planning and also in a regional context because our cities are too close together to see only one city at all. So this discussion is starting with the Green Capital, and we hope that we get these strategies also with the measurements in one view. What we experience is that it helps very much to have a strategy, like you see the new ways to the water. So there is hundreds of small projects following one goal, and you reach it with a very long breath and a long distance to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation, for your discussion. We have to move now, so thank you. Mr. Sebastian Schlecht.